I've had a lot of people bending my ear recently about science stuff. So they've got opinions about climate change or vaccines or COVID or 5G or whatever. And they are, they've got some other idea about how the world works. And look, fair enough. I don't have much to say about any of those topics, right? But the one thing that's been bothering me about that is how people seem to think science works. And I've made a previous video called How to Persuade Me. And in that I argued that most people think that most of what most people believe is basically gossip. It's beliefs and ideas that we pick up from our friends and our family and whatever. And then I asked why you would ever believe anyone's ideas about the world if most of what they're telling you is just gossip. Which I think is a good question. It's worthwhile bearing in mind. Why would you? The correct answer is often you should not. But one answer, one exception, a time that you have a better chance of getting some real facts out of someone is when you're talking to a scientist about their area of expertise. And why do I think that? Well, the reason I think that is maybe not the reason that the people who've been bending my ear would think it is. I think a lot of people think that scientists put themselves on a pedestal, that scientists are people with big Einstein hair and they wear big lab coats and they have test tubes and they write stuff on blackboards and then they invent a new law of physics or whatever. And they think that scientists are these crazy egghead, rational Mr. Spock characters. And I don't think that's what scientists think at all. I don't think most scientists would recognize themselves in that. I think that most scientists, if anything, have less faith than average in human rationality and human reason. They are painfully aware how imperfect they are. And what makes science different is that scientists will take steps to try and address that. So scientists are aware that their head is full of gossip, and they try and get around that by participating in a community that will hold them to account, right? So what makes science work is usually not individual super geniuses. It's a community working together to hold people to the standards of that community, and the standards of that community are talking facts. Okay, so this is what happens if you're a scientist and you discover something. Like you discover some new, you discover that cucumbers cure acne? Why not? Let's say I discover that. I'm working in a lab, I discover that. Or I think I've discovered that. I do some experiments to check I've discovered that. And then I publish it in a journal and I say, look, I've discovered that cucumbers cure acne. You know, good on me. What happens next is I get a bit of respect from my community. People say, oh, it's an interesting idea. Nice one there, Dan. And I go, yeah, pretty good. Then some other people I don't know in some other lab try and check my working. They try and repeat my experiment. And they say, oh, actually, we tested this and cucumbers did not cure acne. And then I will lose some respect. People will say, oh, you did a bit of a bad job there, Dan. Are you just incompetent, or are you trying to sell us some cucumbers? What's going on there? Or maybe this other team will discover that cucumbers do cure acne, and everyone will say, oh, nice one. That's amazing. Okay, you're onto something here. I think cucumbers probably do cure acne. And I'll get more respect, right? I lose respect every time someone can't reproduce my work, and I gain respect when people can reproduce my work. And so my respect in the community is based on my ability to produce ideas that can be verified by experiments by other people. And those other people are people in some other lab on the other side of the planet. They're people that I'm trying to compete with. I may or may not be friendly with them, right? There's science is competitive. We all want to take each other down in my hypothetical cucumber acne lab world, right? There's the thing that is special about this community is that we are aware that we're full of gossip and irrational ideas, but nonetheless we harness our competitiveness and our desire for respect and we harness these things to bring us closer to reality, right? We tie our respect in our community to our ability to do science good. And that's really rare, right? In lots of bits of life, it's, you know what's easier than doing a thing is saying I did the thing. In not many parts of our life do we have this community that will keep us honest and that will help us to keep ourselves honest by checking in on us, making sure we do the right thing. At least not the same kind, right? If my friends try and check in on me, it's not the same as someone over there in some other lab that wants to get the grant money trying to prove me wrong. Like, science is a competitive and combative community. So the beautiful thing is it's really hard to subvert science because you have to persuade people who don't like each other or are competing with each other to cooperate on subverting science. It's very hard to persuade some lab in Argentina and Australia and Finland and China and wherever else. It's very hard to persuade those people all to work together on something, when any one of them could work instead on taking the other ones down. So science it's very hard to keep a lie alive in science. Too many people will benefit from taking the lie down. But the thing that I think has been confusing me about that in these conversations is that people have this different notion about if science says something that people don't want to hear, they've got some other idea, and the scientific community, this majority, thinks it's a terrible idea, then people don't. That's fine in science, right? Scientists don't agree with each other. They're trying to take each other down all the time. But the way they have to take each other down is by using facts. They have to say, oh, look, I tried this experiment, didn't work. Here's my evidence. It suggests that your evidence is bad. When people engage with science, they don't use, or at least people I know who are angry at science, they don't use this evidence-based thing. They're not participating in the community that does its best to use evidence to inform its decisions. Instead, they tend to go for stuff like, those scientists are corrupt. They're trying to, they've been bribed, or they're evil, or they're trying to sell us something, or blah blah blah, which is not necessarily wrong, right? That could be, I don't know. You could be right. I'm sure those scientists out there have been bribed, but it's kind of missing the point. The thing that makes the community tick is not that it's free from bad actors. Obviously, it's not free from bad actors. The thing is, what makes the community tick is that eventually the bad actors get driven out because the community is facts-oriented. And so if you try to engage with science by accusing people of not acting in good faith, of being super dodgy, then you're kind of not helping. Right? We're in the internet age of weaponized conspiracy theories and angry internet movements, and we've all learned not to trust each other. We've got good evidence to suggest we shouldn't trust each other, and by engaging with science as just another part of some attempt to pull the wool over our eyes, we're kind of trying to drag it down to be as bad as us, right? We're trying to say, oh look, it's sweet that this one community is left that still has this amazing trick of making itself be fact-based, but I'm going to treat it like the schoolyard gossip that I'm used to, right? I'm going to say, nah, I've heard those guys are heaps dodgy. I don't believe a word they say. And if we do that, if we gossip about what science does and we don't back it up with facts, we're not doing better than science, right? If we really have a good idea that we can do better than something that the scientific consensus says, that's fine. You know, you're totally invited to do that in science, but the engagement has to be about going, oh, look, I've got some facts. I've spent the time learning the area. I've now got a strong opinion about it, and I've got some good evidence to suggest that the current opinion is wrong. That's a way to get more truth in the world, get more science done, to make the community better. To just accuse everyone in the community of acting in bad faith, look, you're welcome to your opinion, but you're probably not helping anything. But, you know, if you can do better, like, good luck to you. Because, you know, it's a flawed system. I haven't seen anything that's better than science yet, but, you know, if you are that amazing Einstein hair, lab coat, blackboard person that can reinvent it all, then give it a crack and let us know how you go.